Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tacoma Cyclist. I am the Tacoma Cyclist, and I'm here by myself today navigating, or not navigating, but narrating a group ride. Not a race, but a group ride. And this group ride is hosted by USMES, which is the United States Military Endurance Sports Team. And our ride leader today is a gentleman by the name of Silas. And I'm going to reference him a couple times throughout this event, as well as some conversations we've had offline. Now, I will admit right here, I am jumping off of this group ride intentionally, honestly, intentionally kind of being a douchebag. Really, and I'll explain my logic here. I've been on quite a few group rides, and the one thing I can tell you is that you've got about a third of the people that treat the group ride like it's a race, a third of the people that really have a hard time staying with the group, and then a third of the group that really just, they're there to do the group ride. And I'm going to start off here by kind of jumping off the front with this initial pace group, or the initial group that thinks it's a race, and just kind of show you, well, what that is, why it does that, what impact it has. Now, I will tell you, you treat these group rides however you want to treat these group rides. That's up to you. I'd love to tell you why you should do it one way or the other. You do have an impact. When you go off the front like this, it does have an impact on the group ride. So I'll point that out. But at the end of the day, it's your decision as to how you want to handle it. If you want to treat it like it's a race, treat it like it's a race. You will be impacting people, and I think that's something to take into consideration. I think maybe more people should think about how their individual actions have impacts on others, but that's just me. Okay, so a group ride is just that. Again, it's not a race. There are plenty of races on Zwift, and if that's what you want to do, then go race. The idea behind a group ride is that everybody's really supposed to stay together, and in fact, there's even a fence feature. Now, the fence feature has come and gone on Zwift, and it's now back again. Initially, that fence feature, which was added a couple years ago, if you were past the fence for a certain amount of time, it would literally just kick you out of the ride altogether. That wasn't very popular, and for a couple reasons. First of all, it inadvertently would kick people out of the ride that weren't past the fence. And then on top of that, really, people, they just want to do their own thing. And, that's okay. It's all right. But it can be a little bit annoying to certain people, and I'll kind of explain why. All right, so in chatting with Silas, the organizer of this particular group ride, he is not directly affiliated with USMES, but he does a lot of their group rides. And I've been on a couple of his rides, and he does a great job organizing group rides and staying in communication with people throughout, which I think is really important as a ride leader. Again, it's important to understand these are rides, not races, but a number of people will treat it as though it's a race. When you do a group ride, you're going to see a lot of communication from the ride leader, and that's going to pop up in the middle of the screen. It's going to highlight their name just as it does here. And in this case, Silas is doing a great job communicating his expectations throughout the ride. Something else that you'll notice, and when you go to sign up for a group ride, there's stuff in the comments in the description of the ride. Make sure you pay attention to that. And this is a tip that Silas gave me. Make sure you pay attention to it. When you show up to a group ride, and maybe that group ride is supposed to be race pace for the last 5 kilometers, but you're not expecting that, it can really be quite a shock. Or maybe there's a specific workout they're trying to accomplish, but you're just there to tool around, or you're there to race. It can throw off the overall vibe. But again, you do you, whatever floats your boat. Just, there's stuff in the description or the instructions that'll be helpful to understand. Now, you'll see a lot of times, like what we're seeing on screen right now, a request to regroup on the beacon. And what's the purpose of that? Well, there's about 80 riders in here right now. And with the beacon, there's really only a handful of riders right now. There's probably, out of the 80-ish people that are in this group ride, there's probably only about 12 to 15 that are with the beacon. And I'll actually show you here in a minute. I'm off the front with this front group here, and about a couple minutes in here I cut, and you'll see I'm intentionally filtering back to get to that beacon to see just how far and how many people are off that outside the beacon. And it's a staggering number. So what's the advantage of the beacon, though? they published the pace of this ride, and if I recall correctly, it was supposed to be like a 2.5 watt per kilogram sustained average. This was a rest day ride, ideally, although I did do some shenanigans here just for the heck of it, for the sake of this video, of course. And 2.5 watts per kilogram when you have 70 people means a relatively fast pace. But when you have 12 people, it's going to slow that pace down quite a bit. So, and then the other great thing about a large group of people doing that same or similar wattage or watts per kilogram is that you can kind of rotate through and take some time to rest if you want to, or you can be that hero that does a long pull at the front, or you can. This is something that's great. A lot of people, a lot of ride leaders recommend this. If you've got a strong rider that is feeling kind of plucky on a group ride, well, they can go back and drag people back up to the pack. You're not going to be. Nobody's going to look at your name at the end of one of these rides and go, "Oh my God, that guy got first place on this group ride." But people might actually go, "Oh, you know what? That guy dragged me back up to the pack when I was feeling really tired, and he hung out with me and really was, showing us some good strength to pull me back up." That does stick with people. So if you want to be a hero, go off the back and help people come back up to the front. Don't go off the front and make people feel like they're inadequate. They'll remember you, but for the wrong reason. So again, when you have those large rolling packs, they tend to roll faster. They're going to go faster. So that's probably one of the biggest advantages of staying with the pack. And again, if you want to go off the front, that's great. But I think if you're going off the front, then what you're really saying is you're here to race. Well, but here's the thing: there's a lot of races on Zwift. If you want to race, go race. And okay, I'm one of those racers that's kind of on the cusp of an A. I can race Bs or As, and if I race the A's, I completely kill myself. But if I race the B's, I still get a really good workout. I work really, really hard. Race a category down. Don't be a jerk though and race a category down, push the pace well above where it should be, and then go for the final sprint. That's a douche move. If you want to get a good tempo or sweet spot workout by racing a lower category, don't push the pace. Don't be that jerk that's in a C race doing 4.5 watts per kilogram and stretching the whole thing out. Use a little bit of personal judgment on that. Don't sandbag is what I'm saying. But showing up to a group ride like this and hammering it off the front is pretty similar to showing up to that coffee shop ride where everybody's on tandems or recumbents, and you show up on your time trial bike with your aero helmet and blow the doors off of grandpa. Congratulations, you are absolutely a local hero, and everybody thinks you're amazing, and you're going to get your pro contract as soon as you get back to the coffee shop. It's just not that way. So yep, you may have some testosterone in you. This may be your way of feeling like you're super awesome, dominant by smashing it on your local 2.5 watt per kilogram ride. But the reality is that there are some people that are back in the pack that are probably upset. Honestly, they're probably not too terribly thrilled about people that are off the front. And you have to, you may say, well, I'm the guy that goes off the front, and I don't really care what they think because I'm not hurting them. Well, are you? Are you not hurting them? We have a plague with road cycling where people think we're kind of elitist jerks, and in a lot of ways we really, really are. And it's unfortunate, but we really have that kind of testosterone-driven type A syndrome in cycling, and this is just a great way to typify that, is to get off the front of a group ride and smash it and show them how good we are. Go do that in a race. There's the blob, and people want to be social. They want to hang out. They want to talk. They want to experience a group ride like this and have fun. But when they see that they don't stack up to your awesomeness, they may feel a little bit discouraged. And at the end of the day, we want more people on bikes. That makes the experience better for all of us, because more people on bikes means more people on the road on bikes, means more cars have to pay attention to us. And you don't want to make the enemies that eventually turn into drivers that hate us. It's a small world like that. All right, so here I am drifting back. In a minute, I'm going to do a pretty big cut, but I've let this guy know in front of me that that I'm not here to smash it. He can go have fun doing his own thing. And, I private messaged him that, said, have fun, good luck, but I'm going to fall off the back here. You're on your own. And I'm going to start drifting back. So I'm going to do a pretty big cut to me drifting back. But what I want to show you is just how far off the front I really was. And then the big question that I have for you is, why would you join a Zwift group ride if you had no intentions of riding with the group? You can do a JRA, a just riding around. You can go off and do your own thing. You see some of Silas's humor on the screen. I don't know exactly how he might know that many decimal places on his power, but hey, whatever. You can just ride around in Zwift if you want to ride by yourself. If you want to smash it, you can go do a race. Again, my suspicion is if you're off the front hammering it like this, and this is what you do, then you're probably just getting excited because people are seeing your name, and you're like, oh, I'm faster than these people. Yeah, but they didn't show up to be fast. Sorry. Okay, so a big cut coming here. As it's cutting, the whole purpose of this is to show you again just how far I'm having to drift back and how split the group is. As I filtered back, I was literally going through a huge group of people, filtering backwards, doing like 1 watt per kilogram, 1.5 watts per kilogram, and group after group after group would pass me. And I'm like, oh, I've got to be hitting the beacon here soon. I've got to be hitting the beacon here soon. Nope. Look at that long line of gray at the bottom. That shows you how long I was just sitting there at 1.5 watts per kilogram. I cut several minutes out of this video, and that's how much of a stretch this thing was. Again, if everybody stayed with that beacon and blobbed up, the pace of this ride would be faster. It would be going quicker. And because it gets split, it actually slows it down. So, let Zwift physics work with you, not against you. They are giving instructions throughout this entire thing. The ride leader, if they're a good ride leader, and I've done a few of Silas's rides, he's a very good ride leader. If they're a good ride leader, they're going to give you good instructions throughout. They're going to tell you if they're going to up the pace, if they're going to slow the pace. They're going to tell you if they need people to go back and grab stragglers. They're going to message stragglers to find out if they're doing okay. They may message you if you're a flyer off the front and say, please slow down or please leave the ride. I mean, I've seen that happen too. Again, it's your choice. You don't have to, but just try to respect what the ride leader's saying. Again, these are group rides intended to be community, not intended to be races. And then one other tip that I think that was actually a great tip here is, honestly, keep it clean, right? This is a platform where you have potentially thousands of other people riding with you, but definitely at least a couple hundred people riding with you at any given time. Some of those people are kids. My own kid rides on here. Now, that being said, Boogeyman lives with me. There's nothing rated PG in my house. He's heard it all. But not all kids have. And frankly, some of the people that are in these groups, you don't know who they are. You don't know what their current status is. You don't know what their state of mind is. I've seen some really nasty jokes in here. I've seen some racist things. I've seen some pretty misogynist things. I've seen some pretty nasty, disgusting things. And this is, bear in mind, I was with the Marines for several years. Things that make me raise my eyebrow, that takes a lot. So, yeah, keep it clean. If you got to tell dirty jokes, I don't know, find a place for that. That's what Facebook and Twitter are for. But on here, people don't necessarily want to see them. They don't want to hear them. I didn't see any on this ride, and that makes me thankful, but I have seen plenty. I mean, I've seen plenty that make me go, really? Okay. Of course, you have the option to turn your chat off, and I've done that many a time. You can turn on a dirty word filter as well. That's great. But just bear in mind, not everybody's got that turned off, and they don't necessarily want to see your crude or crass joke. So the only other piece of advice that Silas gave was to have fun, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. Zwift is an amazing platform. It is great for group rides like this, getting to know people. I've met people on Zwift that I wound up riding with in real life, which is super awesome. You can use it for structured workouts. You can use it to just ride around because you want to get fit. You can do it for group rides like this. You can race with it. There's just so many things that this platform opens up, and I think it's amazing. But everybody else is here to have fun too. And if the way that you're acting on Zwift, whether that's, well, I won't even go into it, but if the way that you're acting on Zwift is discouraging others from being on Zwift, I think that's something that maybe somebody could consider. I think that's something they should think about. So have fun, but also recognize that other people are here to have fun too. So this is group ride etiquette. This is maybe not what you were thinking I was going to tell you about. It's at the end of the day, my advice is you have to make your own decision as far as how you want to ride on a group ride. If you want to be that guy that hammers off the front and spikes the ball in everybody's face, go for it. You're not getting your pro contract at the end, sorry to tell you. If you want to come here and have some fun, a lot of these have like Discord links and you can chat amongst yourselves while you're riding. You can meet people. That to me is like the magic of these group rides. I think that's where the fun is. And then sometimes they're great to push yourself. Maybe you're not quite at the pace that these guys are at yet. Maybe you're only doing 2 watts per kilogram, but you want to try to hang in with the 2.5 watt per kilogram group as long as you can. That's cool too, because a lot of times they'll have people that will support you. So, group rides, they're for fun. Go have fun. Go do them. Do them the way you want to do them, but just bear in mind you may have impacts on others. That's really all I've got to say for today. Group rides are fun. If you get a chance, jump in on one. I can wholeheartedly recommend these guys for group rides, the USMES. Not all group rides are created equal. Some of them are great. Some of them are terrible. I think these are great. So jump in if you can. And, have some fun. Stick with the blob. And if that's not what you like, if you don't enjoy this type of riding, go join a race or something. Those are cool too. Otherwise, just keep riding, ride on, and have fun, have a blast. And I will see you guys on either the virtual road or the real road sometime again soon. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to smash that like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. And I appreciate you guys stopping by and checking us out. Bye.